Hello students, welcome to AriserTalent. As you know, we are studying very important chapter of NCERT, that is control and coordination. Okay, so in my previous lectures, I have already told you that multicellular organisms generally they show two type of control and coordination, that is chemical control and coordination, and another is nervous control and coordination. In my previous lecture, I have already told you about the nervous control and coordination. That was too interesting. Now again we are going to talk about a very interesting topic, that is chemical control and coordination in animals. Okay, so today our topic of discussion is chemical control and coordination, okay, in animal. Chemical control and coordination. What is chemical control and coordination? When the stimulated cells release some secretion or it discharge some secretion directly into the blood, that is known as chemical control and coordination. Okay, it is a system. It is a system in which what? Stimulated cells releases some chemicals directly into the blood. Okay, and these chemicals are known as what? These chemicals are known as hormones. Okay, so let me tell you what happens here. The stimulated cells release some chemicals directly into blood okay, and this process is known as chemical control and coordination. Actually it's a long process, I'll explain you, but in this process generally stimulated cell releases some chemical directly into the blood. But already we have studied about the nervous control and coordination, where nerves, different types of nerves like sensory neurons, motor neurons and relying neurons perform a particular function, okay, and it has a central nervous system also. But now here we are talking about some chemical. Beside it, as I told you that the multicellular organisms have to perform different actions, so these are generally done by two ways, by nervous control and coordination, and another is chemical control and coordination. So what are these chemicals here which are directly secreted into the blood? These chemicals are known as hormones. Okay, these chemicals are known as hormones. Okay, fine, these are known as hormones. And how they are secreted? Okay, generally they are secreted by endocrine gland. These hormones are secreted by endocrine glands. Okay, and these are system which have the complete system of that endocrine gland is known as endocrine system. Okay, these endocrine glands form a system which is that it's known as endocrine system. Okay, and the branch of biology which deals with that study and physiology of that endocrine system is known as what? Endocrinology. This is very important. The branch the branch of biology which deals with the study and physiology of endocrine system is known as what? It is known as endocrinology. Okay, students, it's very important. Fine. And the father of this endocrinology is who? He is Thomas Addison. Okay, let me mention the name. Father of endocrinology. The father of endocrinology is, who is father of endocrinology? Thomas Addison. Okay, it's very important. Clear? So here we have talked about what? The chemicals which are generally secreted by some special glands that are known as hormones, and these glands which secrete these hormones, these chemicals, are known as endocrine gland, and these glands form a system that is known as endocrine system, and the study of this endocrine system and its physiology is known as endocrinology, and the father of endocrinology is Thomas Addison. Okay, so this was all about the introduction of chemical control and coordination. Now the thing is, as I told you, generally the hormones are secreted by endocrine glands. So what is the meaning of gland here? So meaning of gland here is, it may be any cell, it may be any tissue, it may be any organ which secretes some useful chemicals for the regulation of particular action. Okay, or they want to perform some particular action. Okay, so this is all about the gland. Now we will talk about the types of gland. Generally there are three types of gland. What are they? Exocrine gland, endocrine gland and heterocrine gland. Okay, so first of all let me tell you about the gland. Okay, so now we are going to talk about gland and types of glands. What is a gland? Gland may be any cell, a tissue or an organ. So I must mention a cell, a tissue or an organ which discharge their secretion or which release their secretion or which release useful chemical compounds for some particular functions. Okay, they are known as glands. So a gland is a cell or a tissue or an organ which release, or I must say which secretes, here you can mention secretes, okay, useful chemical compounds for some particular functions. Okay, so these are known as gland. Generally, glands are of three types: exocrine glands, okay, endocrine, and the third one is heterocrine glands. Exocrine glands, endocrine glands, and heterocrine glands. Okay, first of all, we will talk about exocrine gland. Exocrine glands, generally they have ducts to secrete their or to discharge their secretion. Okay, this is the reason they are known as exocrine gland. I must mention these glands have ducts to discharge their secretion. Okay, to discharge their secretion. For example, even they discharge the secretion on the body surface, secretion on the body surface. Okay, what kind of glands are they? For example, sweat glands, salivary gland, and gastric gland in the stomach. For example, sweat gland, which is generally present on skin, sweat gland, salivary gland, and gastric gland in stomach. Okay, next is endocrine gland. Okay, generally these endocrine glands do not have ducts, so they secrete their or they discharge their secretion directly into the surrounding blood. Then the other tissue which is present there, then cells of these tissues detect the particular chemical for the use. Okay, in this way the message is transmitted to the particular site. Endocrine gland, these glands lack ducts. Okay, these glands lack ducts. They release or they discharge their secretion directly in the surrounding blood. Okay, and their secretion is known as hormone. This chemical secretion is known as hormone. Okay, so example of endocrine glands are pituitary gland. Let me mention examples here. Example, pituitary gland, thyroid gland, okay. So these are endocrine gland. Already I have explained you about the endocrine gland, that the father of endocrinology is Thomas Edison. Then these glands form a system, and that system is known as endocrine system, and the study of that system is known as endocrinology. So this is very important because it releases hormones in the blood. Okay. Now we will talk about heterocrine glands. Generally, these glands consist of both what? They consist exocrine tissues as well as endocrine tissues. Let me mention, they consist both endocrine tissues and exocrine tissues. Okay, so what are glands? As we are talking about the chemical control and coordination, so that chemical is known as hormonia. So in this way I must say that, and here we are talking about the endocrine glands because they are secreting that particular chemical which is known as hormone. Now we will talk about hormones. What are hormones? So hormones are the what? They are the chemicals which are secreted by endocrine glands. Okay. Okay, now we are going to talk about particular topic, that is hormone. Hormones. What are hormones? Hormones are the chemicals secreted by endocrine gland. I must mention, hormones are the chemicals secreted by endocrine glands. The name hormone, the term hormone was given by Sterling. Let me mention, the term was given by Sterling. The term hormone was given by Sterling. Okay. Now, as I told you that the hormones are chemicals which are secreted by endocrine gland. Now, what are the physical and chemical properties of it? We will discuss them. Physical and chemical properties of hormones. What are the physical and chemical properties of hormones? First of all, they are secreted by endocrine gland, okay, and then as I must say, they are directly secreted into the bloodstream. First property is that they are, or I must say, hormones are secreted by endocrine gland they are directly secreted. Second property is they are directly secreted into the bloodstream. Okay, the molecules of hormones, okay, are very small. The molecules of hormones, the molecules of hormones are very small. Okay, and I must say that the molecular weight is low. The molecular weight is low. Generally, these hormones are secreted in a small quantity. Okay, these hormones, the hormones or hormones are secreted in small quantity or small amount. Okay, as well as they are destroyed after use. They cannot be stored. Okay, let me mention that hormones are destroyed after use. Okay, they cannot be stored. Another feature is they cannot be stored. Okay, and generally they are secreted at the time of the stimulation only. Okay, when they are released, I must say they are released when they are required. Okay, generally these endocrine glands do not secrete the hormones every time. These glands secrete the hormones only when they are required. So these are the physical and chemical properties of hormones that generally they are secreted by endocrine gland. They are secreted in the small quantity and they get destroyed after the use. They cannot be stored, as well as the molecules of hormones are very small and their molecular weight is low. Okay, so this is all about the what we studied about the chemical, the different types of chemicals. As I told you that these chemicals which are secreted by endocrine gland are known as hormones. So here we studied about the endocrine gland, the chemical they release or they secrete. Okay, and the properties of these hormones. Hope everything is clear to you. Thank you.